weiß Bescheid. Entiendo.
Welcome to the most forward-thinking, inspirational podcast on the planet. Prepare to reevaluate everything you've been taught.
They can tell us we're crazy, and we can say, well, you haven't seen anything yet. Everything you knew was a goddamn lie. Would you up and explode like it's the 4th of July? Possessed by perfection in this land, if you're awake, you're the enemy. Where they lead, you will follow. Well, I guess that's just the way it goes. And if you look away, you'll be doing what they say. And if you look alive, you'll be singled out and tried. Every day a new deception. Pick the scene and take direction. And on a search to connect. But I don't wear a mask and I have no regret. Down on your knees, you don't look so tall. Open your eyes and the empire falls.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Mental Mastery Alliance podcast. Today is March 5th. We're still a little bit slow on being more, consistent. I think that'll change when the sun comes out, unless they block the sun from us with their dust particles. There's so much going on right now. Still getting over the cold, still getting over this weird thing. It's an energetic thing. And it's something that's come up in conversation a few times. And again, in the ethos a few times. And from what I understand, I don't know if it's like solar flares, all this stuff that we listen to and all this stuff that we understand and comprehend about, where we are and physically and what we're doing and all this sort of stuff. We create these preconceived notions about this idea that we're supposed to know something. And if you really understand sort of how all of this is starting to show itself and starting to play out, it's like you get this glimpse that all of our pain comes from knowledge. And that's strange because you're like, knowledge is liberating, it's freeing, it's blah, 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 blah. But you keep going down these rabbit holes, and then you keep having these expectations of self, neighbors, anything, friends, anything close by, experiences. You're like, if I do this, then this will happen. And we're overstimulated by social media. We're overstimulated by so many things. And it's in the ethos right now, and I'm seeing this. Maybe it's just my ethos. Maybe my ethos is the only ethos out there. Maybe all of this is really just for me. Maybe this is all just one giant experience that I decided to have and create. But then again, who knows? And this is one of those things, when you understand too that there is no good and evil, there is no, this, that, or the other thing. There is basically just a thing that you think about a thing that you think. And anything that we've ever been told is information that has gone into how we think about what we think. And I equate this to desire, want, need, necessity. I equate this to expectation. I equate this to general knowledge. When you have an expectation of how something should play out, and it doesn't play out that way, you have the ability to then get upset. And when you do get upset, there's a spiral effect that the next thing that you do could be affected by the fact that you just got upset by this. Now, there's another problem that takes place as well. And that's if the thing that you have the expectation for goes exactly as you expect it to go, you now run the risk of not having the desired mental or physical or emotional response to how you thought you should feel after you just succeeded or after your thing just went the way it did. And that is another level of peculiar disappointment, which could then spiral you out. And I've said this before, and I've talked about this, the brain, the way the brain works. And I'm not talking about, I can't even be talking about the giant chunk of beef inside your head. Because what do we even really know about that? Do we really think that this thing inside our head is creating something? I don't. I think that, every part of your body is a bloody miracle. And the brain is the thing that runs your body. Like, when was the last time you consciously thought about breathing or growing your hair or growing your fingernails? You only think about cutting it, and that's egoic. I must look a certain way. But your body is running itself. So I would assume that the piece of the brain or the piece of the body that's doing that's your head. That's your head, right? And then we trust our gut. Our gut tells us this, tells us that. We got our gut, we got our brain, we got our intuition, we've got our heart, we've got our emotions. That's three brains. That's the Trinity. Father, Son, the Holy Spirit. However you want to look at it. Self, higher self, ego, id. However you want to play it out, heart, brain, gut, brain, and brain. And when those suckers isn't in alignment, this is when things go crazy. Inside you, inside yourself, inside how you choose to view what you choose to view and how you choose to interact with the world around you. Is it your fault that you're not in alignment? I don't know. Because when you start going down these rabbit holes, there's so many possibilities out there. And when you remove your own limitations, in other words, understanding that your beliefs, if not questionable, become limiting beliefs, become the box that you put yourself in, become the arguments that you start to have with other people because they differ from how you choose to view what you choose to view. The absolute chaos that's going on in the world around us is predominantly showing this statement, right? There is no, I look at all of this stuff and I'm in the past couple of months, 60 to 90 days, I'll admit I've been massively overstimulated because my brain sees both sides of any argument, any statement, anything going on. The manipulation from the media, understanding that anything that we're taking in is intentional, and the confusion rides. So when you start down on a negative path, something can trigger you, and you, without even realizing it, you just inch by inch, you're now spiraling down. But is the ethos changing that? Is the sun doing that? Is the solar flares doing that? Right? We base our information on the sun based on what we've been taught our entire lives. The sun is 93 million miles away, blah, 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 blah. The earth is on its axis. It's tilted, implying that there's an up and down in space. And we've got this whole contraption that we have to figure out that we've fundamentally, ladies and gentlemen, fundamentally, we start this process of life and we are handed information. And from that information, we design our lives. We extrapolate what we need to extrapolate or anything under the basis. And how many times have you heard in your life, there are more stars in the sky than grains of sand on the beach? You are infinite nothingness, is what they say. But imagine you weren't. Imagine you knew your true potential. Imagine all of your history was actually handed to you. And then you have to ask yourself, why am I in a position where I have to go digging for my history? And why do I feel that there's anything different? And why every time I decide to ask a question, does the societal world around me shut me down or call me names or make me feel like something stupid? And then why is the world bastardizing itself right now? Why is everything up for argument? Why do we always have opinions? Why are there so many opinions? Why do people care? What the fuck is cancel culture? Are we done with this? Are we done with pretending that we are offended for other people? The entirety of cancel culture is we are offended for other people. What kind of egoic self-righteousness transitional wave is that? It's absurd. So I say that because it comes back to, are you in control of your downward spiral? I don't think you are. I think that everything is happening exactly as it's supposed to happen. And I think that those that are riding a certain frequency are being pulled down. And I think that we're being pulled down so that we can see something else. Ebb and flow, up and down. To appreciate the good, you must have the bad. But what's going on with the world? Why is the world egoically charged? Why are we cancel culturing everything? Why can't people have a laugh anymore? I heard Beyonce got in trouble because she put spaz in a song or something like that. Because somebody somewhere said, hey, that's offensive. Spaz is short for muscle spasm. And every spaz you've ever met has spasms. Muscle spasms. And when I say spaz, I mean that guy that's crazy. That's the spaz. Oh, wait, crazy's offensive now too, right? So here's the thing. Not only are these things going on, not only are these things in the ethos, if you don't initially agree with it, but you're afraid to say it because of what you heard through the ethos, I heard it through the grapevine, you become affected by it as well. So as you're trying to navigate your wholesome life and as you're understanding and comprehending who you are just a little bit better every single day, you find yourself in a scenario, in a situation where the world around you is getting a little bit more chaotic every single day. And when that happens, you really have to start questioning so much more. Now, the problem with questioning so much more in this scenario is that takes you further down the rabbit hole. And when you get down there, the lines of reality and fiction become blurred. And the further down that rabbit hole you go, you realize that even when you're dead asleep, your mind, and I'm not saying your brain, I'm not saying that meat pocket inside your head, I'm saying whatever it is that allows you to think and be conscious is still active. Your meat suit in this reality needs a nap, yo. So it shuts down. But you never do. So where do you go when you dream? What's the difference between a huge DMT trip or a very, very thick dream that you wake up remembering? We've all got that one dream that's like geographically burned into our heads. You know, why is that? It's such a real thing. It's an actual tangible memory. It's not a dream. You know, it could have really truly happened. And then who's to say what does or doesn't truly happen? I mean, the reality is when you're in the middle of it, it's real. And right now we're in the middle of this, the waking world, where you're listening to me on this wonderful podcast. Then the dream world. When you're in the throes of a dream, tell me that's not real. Right when you're in the thick of it. Like, this is fucking weird. And I've never done DMT, but I hear Joe Rogan talk about it. I don't even really listen to Joe Rogan, but it seems that every time I've turned him on, he's talking about DMT. All that to say, I mean, the reality we don't know. The functionality of the reality we don't know. The arrogance, however, of the reality we do know. That arrogance is the thing that dictates to us the pain that we're about to feel. And that's kind of the craziest thing about all of this. So in essence, we are riding a wave. And in another essence, we are in complete control of how we choose to feel. Now, I came across this meme as I was going on this stuff, and it's a funny thing. It's a cat with a ball of yarn, but it's all tied up. He's all wrapped up in this ball. He's a prisoner of his ball of yarn. And the caption says, "When you finally get what you want, but it doesn't make you feel any better, it just ruins your life more." That is a powerful statement. And this is like people who want money, win the lottery, what have you. When things come, it's like, well, now I have this, that, and the other thing. Like, again, Biggie Smalls, more money, more problems. But when you get the thing that you want, now you're worried about losing it. And that's the craziest thing, right? So yeah, it ruins your life. Getting the thing that you desperately want ruins your life. But that's only because you've set parameters as to what your life is and what you're allowed to feel, or what you choose to allow yourself to feel. So I think energetically that there is I think that we're in this. I think that there's a thing, and I think that there's something that we're all supposed to understand, comprehend, learn, and grow from, obviously. I think that this is a huge journey where we observe what we observe. And we agreed to what we agreed to before we got here. # soul contract. I think that a lot of this plays into a factor. And I think that the fact that we aren't as in control as we think that we are, or that we want to be egoically, we then beat ourselves up even more and we spiral downward. And I think in the past 90 days, just from the ethos, the understanding, the comprehension, the conversations that I've had with people, places, things, this is a congruent theme. It's running through a lot of people. It's running through a lot of things right now. And it's not up to us to do anything other than hunker down and ride it out and understand and know that we are going to get to the other side of this. And we are going to appreciate more the things that we have, the things that we've done, the things that we've accomplished. And we're going to understand, hopefully, it's not like this is the be all end all, because there's going to be more of these. There has to be more of these. You can't have perfection all the way through, or something has to give. Obviously, just like in trading, for every win, somebody has to lose. There's a finite amount of dollars. If you're winning, somebody's losing. That's weird, isn't it? That's it. That's energetic. That's life. That's the way she goes, Bubs. Sometimes she goes, sometimes she doesn't go. That's the way she goes. So I think in this experience, this wild ride that we're all calling life, being able to unload our own beliefs frees us from the pain that we cause ourselves. But it doesn't free us from the experience that we're having. And every time you personally level up, there's something out there to hold you back. There's resistance. Because you can't build muscle without resistance physically in the third dimension. And you can't build spiritual muscle without resistance spiritually in the fifth dimension. Is there any difference between the third and the fifth dimension? Yes. Are there any benefits to either? There's benefits to both. Is either better than the other? Absolutely not. They're crazy, both of them. I'll tell you, entering into the fifth and stepping out of, ascending into the fifth makes you feel crazy. So enjoy that because it's coming. To everyone who's there and who's on the precipice, you're in for a treat, you're in for a ride. It's wild, and it never ends. It never ends. Once you start to see, you can't turn it off, which means there is an exponential growth that comes from all of your perceptions. The worst thing you can do is get locked into the ideology or belief that as you're growing, you've plateaued. It keeps getting weirder, and that's actually kind of cool. Ladies and gentlemen, this has been a fun one. In the infamous words of Red Green, keep your stick on the ice.
We really hope you enjoyed this episode of the Mental Mastery Alliance podcast. Stay connected with us directly through the mentalmasteryalliance.com. You can also join the discussion on Instagram at instagram.com/the Mental Mastery Alliance. Let the team know you're listening by using the hashtag TMMA or tagging us at the Mental Mastery Alliance. To have your voice heard on the show, leave a voicemail or send a text to 647-338-1265. Long distance charges may apply. If you love us, leave us a review. If you hate us, you spend your time in weird ways, but also leave a review. Every review on iTunes tickles the algorithm, helping us grow. Until next time, unity over division. This concludes the most surreal portion of your day.
You got it, Pontiac.